Okay, hey YouTube, it's Ron's Fuel Stop, and yeah, I'm way overdue. And yeah, I'm at the beginning, or at the end, I should say, of a good week. A good week. This was a week of Hurricane Cindy, or Tropical Storm Cindy, that I kind of missed out on, but I kept on being just a day behind her. I don't know why, but I'm not complaining. Anyway, when I follow some of the YouTubers that vlog every day, Josh up in Canada and Ike Stevens and Allie Knight, and there's a guy that from Maverick that's flatbedding. I'm thinking about flatbedding myself. Anyway, I am so amazed that people have the time, energy to do it. I don't know if it's because I'm old, or I've only been driving now for about 5 years. If I run too hard, but I rarely have enough energy at the end of a day to do this right here. But anyway, the good and the bad, and that's what trucking is. Some of you, and one of the reasons I make this, I really make this for two reasons: for people who know me to kind of keep up with me and maybe use some of the things that I say and apply it to their own life, even though they're not a trucker. And then for those of you who are actually thinking about trucking, or you do truck and maybe you're not, you haven't had all these experiences yet, or you have, and you just want something to make fun of or laugh at, like a lot of truckers like to do. Anyway, here's the memories of a bad week. It started May 30th. I had to load all the way out to Massachusetts. And our CDL that we carry is our life. I mean, if you get a ticket when you're driving your personal vehicle, that goes on your CDL. I mean, whose job is affected by everything they do in their personal life? I mean, politicians and ministers and truck drivers. So I was at Uxbridge, Mass. That's where I think it happened. And the shipper, the receiver, the consignee, we call him, wanted my license. Took my license. And then that was a 900-mile run out there from Green Bay, and then running back, I came into Home Depot. I pulled into Joliet, which is south of Chicago, and I get out of the truck. This was on a Sunday afternoon, I think it was, and they asked for my license, my CDL. Pulled out my wallet. I got this blank look on my face. Lo and behold, yeah, I didn't have my wallet, and it was out east somewhere. So that was a bad week. That was the beginning of the bad week. So what did I do? Of course, me being me, I contacted my Monday morning, my support person at the company I pull for. That wasn't maybe the right thing to do, maybe it was, but they shut me down. I had to get up to Wisconsin. $14 for a replacement CDL. Photocopy that I had on my phone wasn't good enough. They had to give me their paper copy, which is a temporary CDL. I figure I lost $1,500 due to that mistake. And Ike Stevens would call it a bonehead trucker move. So I do not, now when I go to the shipper, I don't let my license out of my sight. If they want me to send it through the tube, I say I'm not going to do it. I'll come inside, whatever. I'm not letting it go out of my hand, because that's my life right there. And the job that I have right now, no CDL, no job. And I'm saying, even if I have a CDL, but it's not in my person, no functioning job. So okay, that was a big deal. So anyway, a week later, I had to get my, so the end of that was like 1 week, and then the beginning of the next week, I'm counting this all as one big experience here. I had to get my Fed Med card renewed 2 years, every 2 years. So I went in, I got it done. But the thing is, and this is kind of embarrassing, but I'm going to tell you anyway, I couldn't pee. So that's a big thing you got to do when you go get your Fed Med card done. You got to pee, and I couldn't pee. So one doctor went home, And then another doctor took over because it was taking me so long. So therefore, one doctor signed my one form, and another doctor signed my actual little card that you carry in your wallet. And they said, okay, fine, we'll see you later. And so I uploaded it onto the DOT website, and I sent it into my company. They needed a copy of it. And then the next day, everything hit the fan. There was no date beside the day that the doctor signed his signature. So he signed his signature, but then he didn't put the date by it. He put the date when the med card is due, but not the date that the signature was on there. So that rejected it from the one instance. The other place rejected it because they didn't like an I-9 form that had one signature, and then a Fed med card that had a different signature. Then the end of that week, I was trying to get home from my anniversary, and no empty, delivered into Chicago, trying to get a load out of Chicago. What a mess. Traffic, etc. Don't go in and out of Chicago on a Friday. Just don't. It's unpredictable. I know that, but I did it. So I got to the place where I had to pick up on Friday night to get my load back up to Green Bay. The place had supposedly closed 2 hours earlier, but my company wanted me to go in there anyway. They said there was somebody waiting for me there. I got there was nobody waiting for me, but there was a guy at the dock who said he could let me in, or that he couldn't let me in. But I said, could you do it for an amount of money? And of course, then he said yes, because it's Chicago, right? So I got my trailer and went home. Anyway, that was it. Was just some weeks have bad stuff in them, and some weeks are bad, like the whole freaking week. That is trucking. You gotta just be ready. That there's just so many variables. There's the shipper, there's the receiver, and at the company that I pull for, there's the people trying to overbook freight, like basically overbooking an airline. And then there's the people supporting you trying to make up for it. Then there's you. Then there's traffic. Then there's road conditions. Then there's people on vacation. You just can't do all of that and have everything go great. But this week, here I am, Sunday night. I left out this past Monday morning. It's been great the whole week. My weather's been great. Rained a couple times, washed my truck. I've had empties. Some of them a bit old, but they all have aired up tires that go round and round. The closest it came was yesterday. I went into a shipper, and let me see, it was up in the Indiana area, and they said they didn't have an empty. So I put in my information, and the company sent me to find an empty. The thing was like 100 yards away at the place right next door. Nice brand new empty, which I was able to pull and do my deal. So now the only challenging thing I got going on now is I'm running against my 70. So maybe sometime we'll do a whole video on that. There's a lot of guys, a lot of YouTubers right now are doing stuff on how that the hours of service rule makes it so difficult for us that really it actually makes things more dangerous, because often we're pressed to run like heck to get to a safe place to park before our clock runs out. And what I have now is I'm trying to get north by the 4th of July, but this whole week I just gain, tomorrow is the end of my 70, so that means that tomorrow is the 8th day in a row that I've worked. And it's the end of my 70. I have 7 hours and 50 minutes to work. So I got to get up to Jonesboro, Arkansas, and deliver my load, and then I got to pick up another load there and start heading up to Beloit, Wisconsin. And I'll only be able to get up a little ways, an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours at the most, and my clock will run out. But on Tuesday at midnight, for me, Tuesday morning when I get up, I will gain the 10 hours and 6 minutes from last Monday that I worked. I can put that back on my clock. So that means I'll have a few minutes left over from Monday to add on to my Tuesday plus my 10 hours and 6 minutes. And then that's how that'll be. On Tuesday I'll gain the Monday before. On Wednesday I'll gain the Tuesday before. On Thursday I'm only going to gain 4 hours because the Wednesday before I only worked for 4 hours. That's how it goes on and on and on. So complicated things with trucking. I am promoting hashtag reform trucking on Twitter. That people would just write their ideas about what needs reforming in trucking, because it seems like we're just totally controlled by the government and big companies, and the government has one thing in mind. They say it's the safety of the public, but really what it is money in their pockets. And then companies have the same thing in mind. They want their butts protected from getting sued. They really don't care that much about their drivers. It's way down the list. They want their butts protected, and they want to make money. So who is watching out for the drivers? You know, for me, I hope God's watching out for me. I have a few friends praying for me. But who is watching out for us? We need to get back to the days, maybe back in the Teamsters days, maybe that was too strong, and maybe this is the reaction, the far other extreme. But we are about to actually have a huge crisis in this country when it comes to this hours of service thing kicking in, and the electronic logs kicking in December. And the shippers are going to be upset, drivers are going to be upset, something else is going to happen. So let's get our conversations going. If we use a hashtag on Twitter, then that seems to be what the news media and people will pick up. Let's say we had 100,000, 200,000 people doing something on hashtag reform trucking. Maybe our voice would get known. Anyway, got this idea from Ike Stevens, so kudos to Ike Stevens, and let's keep it going. And let's see if I can't get back into making video blogs again. All right? Ron's Fuel Stop.